According to every think tank out there, the Congressional Budget Office, Social Security trustees report, Social Security is essentially currently on fire. We've been putting this off for decades and decades and decades. We should have solved the issue a long time ago, the previous administration, the administration before that, but we have been kicking the can down the road for too long, and cuts are going to be happening here in a very short order, unfortunately. According to everybody out there that's doing the analyses, we're looking at probably about 2033 or 2034, about 21, 22% cuts across the board. And this next year or so is extremely important. No matter who won the election, this is the critical time. We've been putting this off for too long. So, this is the critical time to either fix Social Security so it's here for the future, so we don't get those cuts. It's here for our children and grandchildren, or we just watch it burn. So I'm going to be talking about that today in terms of the next administration. Okay, if you're new to my channel, my name is Ed Weir. I ran the third business Social Security office in the country, and this is also a live Q&A. If you're watching this live, make sure you type your questions, and I'll get to as many questions about all things retirement, survivor, disability, Medicare, Medicaid. All right. So we basically have three options now. We just sit there and watch it burn down and, just deal with the cuts when they happen, the 21, 22, 25% cuts. CBO says about, as Congressional Budget Office says about 25% cuts. Trustees say about 21, 22. It really depends on other all kinds of different factors. But there definitely will be cuts across the board if we do not do anything. If we just sit there and watch it burn, then we're going to have the cuts. There are some politicians that want Social Security to end, so they want to add fuel to the fire. And there are some systems out there, some policies out there, some proposals out there that want to extinguish the fire and rebuild the system. So let's talk about that today. All of the source documents is in my YouTube description. So if you just don't want to believe me, just go to my YouTube description. You'll see the CBO report, to the Congressional Budget Office. You'll see the trustees report, and all the rest of it. Okay. Number one thing I want people to realize is that the Social Security is not the trust fund. So you hear politicians do this all the time. They say Social Security is going bankrupt, it's going insolvent. That is incorrect. Social Security, as long as it's not completely destroyed and given over to Wall Street or something, will be here forever. The issue is how many percent. Just like your home, when you retire, you get less money coming in, and if you have the same amount of mortgage and all the rest of it, then you usually have to tap from your savings. The Social Security Trust Fund is the savings. It's the Social Security Trust Fund has only been here. They started the current Social Security Trust Fund in the early 1980s. Before that, going all the way back to 1935 when Social Security started, sometimes it had a little trust fund, sometimes it didn't. But the trust fund is being depleted. And the trust fund was built up specifically for baby boomers, and baby boomers are starting to retire. The problem is that there's X amount of money coming in after the trust fund is exhausted. And that X amount is only going to cover about 70-75% of the payments going out. So what will have to happen? What will have to happen is 20%, 25%, 30% cuts across the board. So the fact that the Social Security Trust Fund is being depleted, it was meant to essentially be depleted by being used by baby boomers. It was saved by baby boomers. So let's not blame the baby boomers. The baby boomers put that money away for the future, for their future Social Security benefits. So they put it away, saved it, and now they're using it. So some of the options, the current president has said that he is not going to raise the retirement age by 1 day. Perfect, awesome, we like that. I personally like that. Some people believe that the retirement age should be raised to 70. I'm not one of those. And he also said there should not be any benefit cuts. Great, I like that as well. Not 25, 23%, or whatever the case may be. But the problem is, if those are off the table for the next 4 years, that's beautiful, awesome. But that's just essentially watching the place burn down, watching Social Security burn down, because, okay, no cuts for the next 4 years, but those cuts are going to happen automatically in the next presidential term So, what is the current administration and the new Congress going to do to make sure those cuts don't happen rather than just sitting around on their hands and saying, hey, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to add fuel to the fire, but we're not going to do anything either. We're just going to watch it burn. And I'll talk about the ulterior motives for that. There's also ideas out there for means testing benefits. There was some plans around there specifically for spouse benefits. So if you made X amount of money through your 401k or other work or something like that, then you wouldn't be entitled to those spouse benefits or children's benefits. There's a few plans out there that are talking about that. One of the ways to fix Social Security is to, and politicians like to say this, raise taxes. It's all about raising taxes. Well, not necessarily. So anytime they say, well, there's either two solutions for Social Security: cut benefits or raise taxes. No, then the politician is not telling the truth, and the politician is the old, how do you know a politician is lying? They're moving their lips, right? So cut benefits; those are not the only two options. So when most people say, okay, not raising taxes in the sense of right now you pay 6.2% on FICA Social Security. Most people are not talking about raising taxes on you that you will have to pay 7% or 8% FICA. No, what they mean, most people that advocate raising taxes on Social Security is raising the cap. Right now, if you make $176,100 under that, you pay FICA Social Security tax on every dollar you make. If you earn over that amount, you stop paying FICA tax, Social Security tax on any amount over that amount. You still pay up to the 176,000. So, if you're making 176,000, you and Elon Musk are paying exactly the same amount of Social Security tax. So one of the ideas out there is to just raise the cap, smash the cap, so everybody pays the same percent on all of their income as the vast majority of probably you out there watching pay FICA tax on every single dollar. If that cap was raised, then Social Security would be around for a lot longer. But we need to act on that quickly because right now that's going to solve about 73% of the issue out there. We just need to tweak some other stuff. But it's an easy solution to fix Social Security. It's just a matter of whether the next administration and the politicians on both sides. I'm not, as a Democrat or Republican, I am the party of Social Security. And the last administration, Biden administration, I give a C minus in terms of protection of Social Security. They actually did something negative with the Social Security Fairness Act, which wasn't fair, but that's a whole different issue. So they had plans, but they didn't institute those plans. So, and the previous administrations for the last, 20, 30, 40 years didn't do their job. And this is the key point. This is the key time. If we don't reach out to our politicians, and how do you reach out to your politicians? Here you go. You call the senators, your congressperson, you call their number, you call their local numbers, you go onto their website and you ask them what they're doing to solve the crisis to make sure you don't have cuts in the future. So take a screenshot of that, save that, and reach out to your politicians because if those cuts happen in the future, we have nobody to blame than ourselves. All right. So when politicians say it's either cuts or raise taxes, they're not telling the truth. Cuts, okay, yeah, and we don't want the cuts. But raising taxes is on us or making taxes fair for everybody. That's the question. And the ultimate goal, as pretty much everybody recognized, we've got the senator that's going to be reaching out. I've got and putting out a plan to essentially privatize a portion of Social Security as a step to fully privatization. What does that mean? Giving your Social Security money over to Wall Street. We all know about Medicare Advantage. About half of the people in the country have a Medicare Advantage plan, so they opt out of original Medicare and they pick a Medicare Advantage plan. So that's privatized Medicare. And you know about the diminishing networks, about the prior authorizations. So what we are looking at, what politicians want to do is do the same thing with Social Security. So essentially have a Social Security Advantage plan. So you can keep original Social Security, or you can move to something like a Social Security Advantage plan, and then deal with the billionaires on Wall Street and whatever they decide whether to give you your retirement or your disability or whatever the case may be. So those are kind of the options. And for most people out there, the Medicare Advantage, they're kind of stuck in there because because of the kind of the zero premiums and all the other bells and whistles. But when they get sick, most people wish they had gotten a Medicare supplement plan and stayed with original Medicare. All right, so this is the I'm hoping the new president does the right thing and says, okay, I'm not going to raise the retirement age, but that's doesn't matter because that's not going to solve the issue. What we need to do to solve the issue is this, that, and the other. And as soon as that plan comes up, I will be 100% supportive of that plan if it actually saves Social Security and saves your checks. So let's reach out to our politicians and make sure that happens. We are the only ones that can do it because the Wall Street is definitely reaching out to their politicians and seeing if they can get that money. All right, let's switch to the question and answers. So if you have any other questions on all things Social Security, please type them down into chat there, and let's get as many people the benefits they need today. Let's see here. Do I qualify for Social Security's spousal benefits if I am receiving a pension and I only have 35 Social Security credits? My husband is a retired fighter and he receives a pension and Social Security. We are in Texas. Okay. So, yeah, you don't have to be insured on your own record if you're eligible for spouse benefits. So, as long as your spouse is eligible for benefits, then you're eligible for benefits as a spouse. So, it doesn't matter whether you have your 10 years, 40 quarters or not, which it sounds like you don't. So, not an issue whatsoever. But you're in Texas, so I am assuming you're also one of those 3% of government employees that didn't pay into Social Security. So, but he might have paid into Social Security in other places, and you might be part of that group the Social Security Fairness Act applies to. So, I would reach out if he's receiving Social Security benefits. His If he's one of those non-covered Social Security Act pension individuals, then his benefits are going to be readjusted here soon, and once the Social Security Fairness Act is fully implemented. And but anyway, I would definitely reach out and check to see if there's any spouse benefits. But yes, there just might be some spouse benefits if your husband is receiving benefits. Wayne, what's up, Wayne? Retired wife is 71, continuous health insurance through my current work. She did not sign up for Part B. Will she be penalized for not signing up for Part D, the drug plan? No, as long as she has continuous health insurance from your work since she turned 65. So she refused Part B and Part D at 65 and because she had health insurance through your current work, not a retirement plan, but actual current work, and your employer has 20 or more employees, if that's the case, then no penalty whatsoever. So when she stops receiving health insurance from once you retire, then about a couple of 3 months before you know you're going to lose your health insurance, then reach out to Social Security. You'll have to do a couple of forms. One of them is a 40B and the other one is a 564. This is the government. You always have to have forms, right? So you submit one of those, you take one of those to your HR, and your HR says, yes, 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 they had health insurance through current work since they turned 65. Don't penalize them. And easy, and just go ahead and get it started. And then you have to figure out what you're going to do with, to cover all the gaps, because Part A and Part B are awesome, but there's about 6 gaps there, that financial gaps that you need to address. The big one being Part B has a 20% co-insurance. So that's why people get either a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage. I always recommend checking out a Medicare supplement plan first, Plan N or Plan G. And then if it's not right for you, then move on to Medicare Advantage. But Chapter can help you out. They are in Texas and all over the country. It's a very dark, cold day here in America, and the weather isn't very nice either. Yeah, it's is AARP advocating to uphold protect Social Security? I believe so, but it's just to leave it to someone else. I don't think is going to help. All politics are local, so reach out to your local politician. That's the 2 senators that represent your state in Washington. Reach out to those 2 individuals. reach out to your particular congressional, the House representative, whoever represents your particular congressional district, reach out to them and say, hey, what are you doing to protect Social Security to make sure my check isn't cut in a few years here? What are you doing to improve customer service at the local office? Because that's one of the ways that they add fuel to the fire is they destroy customer service, which they have been doing a phenomenal job at Social Security. Social Security has the fewest amount of employees they've had in 50 years, but the baby boomers are retiring. There's 11,000 people turning 65 every single day. And unfortunately, politicians refuse to staff your local office because they don't want you to get access to their benefits, your benefits. They don't want you to they want as much, I guess they want as much money as left there for when they pass it over to the politicians, and they want you to hate Social Security. So when you're on the phone for 3 hours, yeah, people start hating Social Security, and it's not, their fault. They can only hire people if Congress gives them the allocation to hire. All right, let's see. My mother is a green card holder and not worked in the U.S. and 76 years old, and she is eligible. For SSI. It really depends. Yeah, SSI is the welfare-based program, supplemental security income. People often mistake that for Social Security, but SSI is supplemental security income, a welfare-based program. It does not come out of the Social Security Trust Fund. It comes out of just regular taxation, regular revenue. But yeah, if she's low income, low resources, and she's in the country legally, then I would definitely reach out to Social Security and see if she's eligible. There's two ways you can become eligible for SSI: is being disabled or aged, 65 or older. And if you're disabled or 65 older, you also have to have the low income and resources. So I have a question about the 6-month retro check. Okay, go for it. Okay. I'm assuming you're talking about there's a few ways you can get a retroactive benefits when you're filing for retirement after your full retirement age. If it's 6 months after your retirement age, you can actually ask for 6 months retroactivity. So if you're, full retirement age is 67 and then you contact Social Security at 66, 67 in 6 months, you can say, okay, start my benefits now. Or you can say, hey, give me 6 months retroactive back pay. So, yep, that's what it is. Um, Kayla, agree, appreciate what you do and time for all. If Social Security is privatized, how it's going to affect SSDI? Well, that's one of the SSDI, yeah, Social Security Disability Insurance. That's one of the things that the President Trump, on the previous administration, he tried to um, uh, uh, regulates even more SSDI, more work requirements, more continuing disability reviews. So that was the focus of his previous administration: SSDI, SSI, the supplemental security income, Medicaid. So we'll see what happens with the new administration. So, are we going to get some big stimulus money? There was, if you didn't file your taxes in 2021, I guess the IRS is sending out some checks on that one, and they also missed some people that didn't get that stimulus going back to 2021. That is the only thing that's kind of in the news right there about stimulus. Everything else is just pretty much just clickbait out there. Is this a bash Trump post? No, this is, hey, if I'm a one trick pony, single focus on protecting Social Security and Medicare and making sure it's here for the future. And if he does the right thing, like any politician, 100% support. If he doesn't, then it is going to be a bash Trump post. And what do I mean by he doesn't do the right thing? He doesn't protect your Social Security benefits. He makes sure those cuts don't happen. Just like Biden, I bashed him when he passed the Social Security Fairness Act because that was the wrong thing to do, but for political reasons, he did. So yeah, he shouldn't have done it. But anyway, have an adult disabled child who is on SSI. Is he required to report to SSI if I decide to start my Social Security benefits? Yes, absolutely. Because if you're on SSI, that's a welfare-based program, and it comes out of, again, general revenue. Any other money coming into the house or any other benefits that person is eligible for, they have to file for those benefits. So if you start your Social Security benefits, then your disabled adult child is entitled to benefits on your record, 50% of your full benefit amount. So yes, 100%. When you file your retirement application, they will ask you. They will say, do you have any children under the age of 18? Do you have any children that were disabled before the age of 22? And then you say yes, and they are supposed to take that application. And maybe it's more money, maybe it's not. So it really depends, unfortunately. Let's see here. Dr. Weird. By being back in grade school. So anyway, I know it's just mistype it. So should I apply for early Social Security firsts or SSDI? I just turned 62 and my leukemia is no longer in remission. Wow. Sorry to hear that. Oh, that sucks. Um, it really depends on your particular situation. What you can do is called a rib dip. Retirement insurance benefits, disability insurance benefits. You can file for both of those at the same time. And why would you do that? Is if you need the money. If you need money to start coming into the house, you file for early retirement, you start getting a check. Because if you file for disability, then it takes 6 to 9 months if you're lucky to get a decision. But if you have leukemia, it might be, hopefully, it'll be a lot easier, a lot quicker to get a decision. But it's still going to take time, unfortunately, because staffing is so low. So reach out to your politicians and make sure they, staff the office for people like Harley here. So, yeah, if you need the money, file for retirement benefits and disability at the same time. And that way, at least you get some money coming in. Okay, she corrected her name. Thank you, Harley. Appreciate it. No problems. Or Marine Corps Sergeant. I've been called worse. My wife is 71 and has had. Okay, I already talked. I already did that one. Let's see. Let's see. David, do I get to chat today or will I be timed out? If not, welcome. Okay, yeah. If you asked 400 questions, then you will be timed out. But we need to give other people the opportunity to get their questions answered. So I took my Social Security, disability, income, pension, and survivor benefits. So is there anything I could do now that I'm 65? I'm also on Medicare Advantage plan. Okay, so you took your Social Security, disability, and pension, and survivor benefit. Okay, so Isabel, this is good because a lot of people don't realize you can do that. You can have disability and survivor benefits. What happens is you're receiving disability benefits, and then somebody passes, your spouse, your divorced spouse passes away, and you're eligible for more money on that record. So you file for benefits on that record. And so you can have disability and survivor benefits at the same time. You can have disability and spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits at the same time if the numbers, the calculations, get you some extra money there. But because you're now 65, here's what you need to do because you're on disability. You're on a Medicare Advantage plan right now, possibly because that's the only thing you could get. Because in most states, when you're on disability, that means you're under 65. These insurance companies don't want to touch you because you're on disability and you're going to cost them more money. So they have the right to not give you that insurance. That we're talking about a Medicare supplement plan. Medicare Advantage you can get is what you got. But now that you're 65, you're in a free window. You're in an open window, open enrollment. So you can get a Medicare supplement plan. So whether it's right for you, whether it fits within your budget, whatever the case may be, you should definitely check it out because you might not get another opportunity to do it again. So you can reach out to my partners at Chapter there and say, hey, I'm turning 65. I've been on Medicare Advantage for 1, 2, 3, 5 years. I don't like the prior authorizations. I don't like the networks. Tell me about Medicare supplement. Tell me the difference between a plan N and a plan G in my area and all that other stuff. And they will go through it. And if you like it, then they'll help you enroll. If you don't like it, maybe they can find you a better Medicare Advantage plan. If not, then you don't have to do anything. At least you've checked all the boxes and you've done everything you need to do. All right. If I qualify for early Social Security SSDI, which should I apply? Okay, I already answered that one. John, I'm 70. So does this mean that I will have my payments reducing at that percentage over each year? Yes. If we don't do anything, if you don't do anything, John, if everybody on here doesn't do anything, we just sit around and just wait for the politicians to fix it, which obviously they had 40 years to fix it. Yeah, if we don't make them fix it, yes, you will get cuts and 2033, 2034, or sooner. And it'll be across the board 2021, 30%. And people always say, well, they're not going to touch mine because I'm, currently receiving benefits. No, that's not how the Social Security law works. On Social Security, how it works is they can only pay out what they have, what they receive. So if they receive, $1,000, and they have to pay out 1,200, they can't pay out 1,200 because they only got $1,000 coming in through FICA taxes for that month or year. So your benefits are going to be cut by 20%. You're not going to get that extra $200. What's bridging that $200 gap right now is the trust fund. There's savings there. It says, okay, we can only pay John $1,000. His benefit is $1,200, but sorry, $200. Sorry. Oh, wait a second. We've got a trust fund. So let's grab $200 out of that trust fund and we'll give it to John. So here's $1,000 from, Bob down the street that's paying FICA taxes. And here's $200 from the trust fund. Here's your $1,200 check. The problem is the trust fund is running out and then you're going to get the 20% cut. So yeah. So it's not 20% because 12 anyway, but guerrilla math. So yeah, reach out to your politicians and say, hey, what are you doing? And don't let them give you the BS political speak misdirection about, oh yeah, we're working on efficiencies. Social Security is way understaffed. They are, efficiencies. It's like, what else can they do? Every organization can be more efficient, but that is a red herring, a misdirection. If they just say, oh yeah, we're going to work on making Social Security more efficient. Okay, that might help 1% of the issue. What about the 90 other 99%? So that is just a trick that they use to shut you up. So, but we're smarter than that. Peggy, thank you, Dr. Ed, for your help and information. You're welcome. Albert, CSRS retiree. So you work for the federal government, the old system, civil service retirement system. 31 years of non-covered pay, then much lower covered pay, including all my pay history on the online calculator. 30 to 50% of that much higher AME was a lot more than 90% of my actual low AIM. Okay, yeah. So this is a calculation. This is what the Social Security Fairness Act is messing up. Is people don't realize that if you're a low income earner throughout your life, you get a higher percentage of what you paid into Social Security, up to 90%. If you paid a lot throughout your life, a high wage earner, you get a smaller percentage, 30% of what you paid into Social Security. And that's been like that since 1935. And now these 3% are going to be receiving a higher percent than everybody else, equal workers. So that's why it's unfair. So just increase the cap to 500,000. Yeah, that's or just in the cap, or 400,000 and above. And so there's easy solutions. Easy. You could fix Social Security in 10 minutes, but the problem is political will. Just getting those politicians to act. Smash the cap, not increase. Yes. Dr. Weir, when will you be in Chicago? Inquiry minds want to know. I'm going to be doing a radio show on the 28th, January 28th with, so AM radio, trying to get the word out there as much as possible, helping as many people. So if you know anybody, any local news or anything like that, yes, please share. I'd be more than happy to jump in anywhere. We need to help people get the benefits they're entitled to. Why do some politicians want Social Security to end? They're just the philosophical reasons. They believe the government shouldn't do anything except for the military. And they want to give, the $2.7 trillion of the Social Security Trust Fund. They want to give that to their buddies on Wall Street so they can, get their golden parachutes and get their percentages and all the rest of it. And it's interesting, these same people that say, that want to give, those $2.7 trillion to Wall Street. Those are, some of those politicians are the same politicians that say, hey, it's all fake money. It's all, IOUs. It's all monopoly money. It's all been stolen. It's not really there. And then all of a sudden, when Wall Street comes knocking on their door and says, hey, we want it, all of a sudden it appears. Yeah, it's miraculous. Anyway. I would remove the cap. The insanity of wealthy people getting a pass astounds me. Yeah, I agree. It's yeah. As a backup plan, if by 2027 this president doesn't do anything to raise the FICA cap, then I suggest voting for a third party candidate who has the raising the FICA cap in their agenda. Yeah, but again, we need to, act because every year we wait, the solutions are going to be more difficult, and it's going to hurt. 40% of Americans just live on Social Security alone. And to just sit around on our hands and see what happens, as a lot of people, they say, quit speculating, quit, this might happen or that might happen. It's like, well, if we don't do anything, I can guarantee this is what's going to happen. So, yeah, I suggest, everybody, reach out to the politicians and, yeah, let's make sure it doesn't happen. This is kind of a participatory democracy, I believe. Question, Tom, I had SSDI, got it in 2019, went back to work, benefits stopped, still within the 5-year reinstatement period. I was disabled with chronic conditions that have worsened. I want to file for ERP. Yeah, it's actually called an EXR, expedited reinstatement. Yes, basically, if you have been receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, and then you went back to work and your benefits stopped because you went back to work, you can, within 5 years, file an expedited reinstatement if you are just no longer able to work anymore. So, yes, file an EXR. You can't do that online. Um, even though the word expedited is in the application name, there ain't nothing expedited about anything Social Security nowadays because of the low staffing. But yes, they will just take your previous medical stuff and update it and all that, and hopefully you'll get an answer quicker than you did the first time. So yeah, it's called an EXR. Definitely get that started before the 5 years runs out. Alicia, thank you, Dr. Weir, for taking time out of your busy day to share your time and knowledge. You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Crystal, I turned 65 March 2025. I have an appointment with my local Social Security office March 11th. Will that be too late and I be penalized since it is after I turn 65? I am working but no insurance and have not drawn on my Social Security. No. So you turn 65. Yeah, the month you're turning 65, yes, you're good. So for signing up for Medicare, if we're focused on Medicare here, you have a 7-month window, 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after you turn 65 to sign up for part, A, B, and all that stuff without any penalties. So no, you're good. But since you don't have insurance, yeah, I would maybe call them up and say, "Hey, I don't have insurance and I'd like to get this, done as soon as possible. I'd like to get an appointment this month so I can get it done so you can, get your Medicare started in March or February. Get an appointment in February. I'd probably get it if you want your Medicare to start March 1st, then I would call them up and say, "Hey, I want my Medicare to start March 1st. And if I do it, on the 11th, then they can start your Medicare on that month. But the problem is if something happens, in the first 10 days or something like that, you'll be covered, but it'll be a nightmare. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's completely your decision. But yeah, I would, I'm kind of paranoid about stuff like that. So I like stuff to start when it's supposed to start. That is if you really want to go ahead and start your Medicare. And then while you're waiting, you can reach out to Chapter and they can fill you in on all the options in your particular area to cover all those gaps. Because unless you've got a few $1,000,000 sitting under the mattress somewhere, you need something to fill the gaps. No cap. It will only affect about 3% of people, and the problem is solved. Yeah. Yep. I agree. But if you watch the inauguration, you can see the 3% of the people that will affect. And so, yeah, there's that. That's why they're fighting it, because there would be the ones, the golden rule, right? Will SSI be the first cut by Trump? If we look at his previous administration and his budget proposals, then that's one of the first things. Any type of welfare type benefit like that, yes, that's again taking historical precedent in mind. Yeah, SSI Medicaid, and there's also some the new Congress, the 119th Congress, has also put out some proposals to cut those type of welfare benefits. So yes. And I just did a video on this a couple 3 days ago about the fact if you lose your SSI, that also might you lose your Medicaid. And if you lose your Medicaid, a lot of people are having their Medicare Part B premium, that $185, paid by Medicaid. So they might just lose their SSI, lose their Medicaid, and lose Medicare because they can't afford the $185. And then people are going to be in dire straits. I hope none of that happens. And the only way we can prevent it is, again, reach out to your politicians and tell them what you think. So. What can we actually do? I've called, emailed, voted, don't know what else. Yeah, just reach out, call. So yeah, you sounds like you've done everything you possibly can. Is reach out to their social media, and yeah, that's the only. Could you imagine if 70 million people are on Social Security? Could you imagine if 70 million people called their politicians and their the mass media and went on their social media websites and said, "Hey, what are you doing this? You gave me this BS answer about this, that, and the other," and we call people on the carpet. So. Jerry, does Social Security recalculate benefits after an added 10 years work history? Began Social Security benefits at 62, back to work at 66 until 79. My Social Security benefits has remained the same except for the COLA increase. Yeah, basically, yeah, it's not the 10 years, it's the high 35 years. So if you have continued to work and paid into Social Security, and that's one of your high 35 years of earnings, then yes, it's automatic. As soon as you file your taxes and notify the IRS notifies Social Security, and then Social Security looks at how much you made for the previous year. And if it's one of your high 35 years, they automatically recalculate and increase it. But it sounds as though that, whatever you've been working the last few years has not been one of your high 35 years. So. I'm getting survivor benefits. I am 63. If I retire at 65, will I get more, or is it one or the other? Thank you so much. You're welcome. It really depends on yours. I would definitely call Social Security and find out. So you're getting survivor benefits. So it sounds like you haven't touched your benefits on your own record. So the benefits on your own record continue to increase. And so call Social Security and say, hey, I'm approaching 65. I'm on survivor benefits. How much if I switch over to to my own record? And they'll tell you. And then, because your benefit amount will continue to increase until you turn 70 years old. So you might say, oh, okay, if I switch over now, it's an extra $50 a month. But if I wait till next year, it's an extra $100 a month. If I wait till 2 years from now, it's $200 a month, whatever the case may be. So even if it's a little bit more now, you still might want to wait. But hey, if you need the $50 now, you need the $50 now. So, Anna, we have a big problem when it comes to Social Security. Yes, and it's not. It's politicians' fault. It's there's a portion of the politicians that want to see it die, and there's another portion of the politicians that don't want to see it die. But I guess they've been too incompetent or bad at their jobs over the last few decades to do anything about it. So. They had concepts of a plan, right? Yes. Joe Biden, over 50 years of public service, total BS. He served himself. Good read. Okay. Yeah, he has support for Social Security, but just not able to. Yeah. So. I would say the Fairness Act excluded the majority of those deserving help. Yes, yes. I mean, if you want to give an extra percent to people, then I think the rest of the 97% should get a higher percentage, like these 3% are going to get. Yeah, I've got nothing against people getting extra percentage, but I think it should be actually fair. And everybody, if 3% of retired government employees are getting extra percentage, I think everybody should get it. For those waiting after 62 is throwing the dice they live beyond 80, which is the break even for waiting until 67. It may also be reduced by 67. Take it at 62. Yeah, it's really case by case. If you're working, making over the 23,400, then it's not a good idea. But if need the money, then it's a good idea. Yeah, each individual decision. Some people it's smart to do it at 62. Some people it's not So really depends on your particular situation. I will never comprehend why anyone would want to see Social Security die. I get that some want to make money off it, but I can't comprehend why they'd want to hurt millions of people who paid into it. Yeah, I agree. Social Security is the most successful anti-poverty program in U.S. history. Not sure if you've heard this thing called about the Great Depression. So yeah, I'm not sure we want to return to Great Depression times. Teresa, I appreciate your help so much. I'm 63 and on SSI and Medicaid, divorced, and my ex has just turned 60. They said I can't draw off him until he starts to draw. And also, I can't get Medicare until I am 65. Okay, you're welcome. Number one, a couple of things incorrect there. Okay, your ex has to be 62 years old. You had to be married to him for 10 years or more. But he has to be at least 62 years old, and he doesn't have to be receiving benefits. It's called independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. So he doesn't have to be receiving benefits for you to receive benefits on his record if you know the eligibility requirement. So as soon as you know he turned 62, then reach out to Social Security and see if there's any more money out there for you. And you can't get Medicare until you're 65. So yeah, if you're just on regular SSI, supplemental security income, then that is correct. If you're on SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, that's the one you pay FICA and all that for, then you get Medicare after being on SSDI for 2 years. But there is no Medicare for being on SSI. So yeah, the Medicare thing is correct. Yes. So in 2 years, he'll be 62. So you'll be able to get Medicare on your own record at that time. Um, and, or on his, because he'll be 62 at that time. So I started drawing survivor benefits when I was 60 years old from my husband's railroad retirement. Husband's regular Social Security took over at 62. Will I be eligible for the Fairness Act? I'm not a specialist in the railroad. Yeah, railroad is a completely different beast. They didn't pay into Social Security, so I would reach out to the railroad board. That's that's par for the course for any Social Security employees. Anytime anybody comes in that's railroad, we would have to call. They still do. Social Security employee has to call the railroad board to find out who has jurisdiction. So in your particular case, I would reach out to the railroad board and ask them about how the Social Security Fairness Act applies to you. So, all right, let's see. Take and took, what's up? Getting rid of the earnings cap on FICA is the first step and the only one that makes the most sense. The difficult part is making sure Congress takes that step 100%. We all need to call, write, email them. Exactly. That is the only way they're going to do it because they are fighting against, their billionaire contributors, their sponsors. And the only thing that's going to defeat that is a mass movement of people contacting them. And so the politicians are going to say, hey, thank you for the $1 billion, but it's not going to help because everybody's against me because I'm not trying to fix Social Security. So even if they give them $1 billion and then yeah, if we got enough people supporting, then that'll overturn that. I'm guessing with nothing but billionaires running the things, we, the retired, elderly, and disabled, don't stand a snowball's chance in raging forest fire for seeing the cap raised. That's one of the most important weapons that politicians have is cynicism. Where they just beat us down, beat us down, and beat us down, and we just say, you know what, forget about it. Whatever happens, happens, and then the politicians win. So, yeah, I know it's tough though. Keep on keeping on. Do the projections on the Social Security website already reflect these cuts? If they know it has to be reduced for future payments, is that built into projections for those of us to retire in 2035? It's not built into the projections, your individual projections on your, if you go onto the website for your particular, Social Security account, it's not built into there. But yes, those projections are on the Social Security website, on the Social Security actuary. They put down there, yes, there will be across the board cuts if nothing happens. If we do nothing, then yes. I don't trust Trump at all. So at 62, I started Social Security. Hope I'll be okay. Um, yeah. Again, I don't want to make this kind of political. I just make it about the policy, and Trump could surprise us all and, go in there and actually fix it. Harris could have surprised us all and actually go in there and fix it. But the problem is that it's something, whatever needs to be done in the next 2 years. And doesn't matter who the politician was, then it needs to be done. And since it hasn't been addressed in the last 40 years, um, but we have to stay positive. Anyway, let's see. Okay, already answered that one. Am I eligible for WEP due to I paid Social Security and receiving government pension and Social Security pension? Okay, so that WEP, the windfall elimination provision, has been eliminated. So now people that worked on those non-covered earnings will go back to getting that windfall. And people that say, okay, why do they call it a windfall to begin with? You need to research that. But yeah, so they will go back to getting a windfall again. What's a windfall? They were getting extra percentage than everybody else. Yes, thumbs up, please, please. Let's see. You, sir, play both sides. You are just like Democrats. You lie. You have been reported for your lies, sir. Okay. All right. So not sure what lies. It's all in the documentation, the resources, this congressional budget office. Do I play both sides? Again, whichever politician supports Social Security, I'm for that, for them supporting Social Security. Some of their other stuff I do personally might not agree with, but anyway. All right. So got some very happy people there. All right. Does Social Security recalculate benefits? Okay, I already did that a few times. What determines if Social Security goes by monthly or yearly income the first year you draw? Thank you. Yeah, it really depends. So they go by both, or actually either when you file for benefits, the first year you file for benefits. Let's say you start your benefits in July of this year, July of 2025. Social Security doesn't care what you made before July. So if you made $1 billion from January to June, you've obviously exceeded the annual limit. And the annual limit is the $23,400. So you're obviously over that. That's when you go over the annual limit, they switch to the monthly limit. And the monthly limit is $1,950. So if you want to start your benefits in July, you have to stay under the monthly limit, $1,950 for July and every month for the rest of the year. So they switch to the monthly limit. And then the following year in 2026, then they can't do the monthly. It's just an annual. Anything you go over the annual earnings limit, they hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So, Wendy, can I get divorced spouse benefits even though I get a widow's check? You can switch if the divorced spouse benefits are more than your widow's benefits. Absolutely. But if it's less, then you should stay on your widow's benefits. So, but if you're on widow's benefits from a first ex-spouse and the second ex-spouse, is you're eligible for benefits on that, but it's less because survivor benefits you get up to 100%. If the person is still alive, then you get up to 50%. So you're like, okay, the first spouse, that's where the most money is because I'm getting survivor benefits. Second spouse, no. But if the second spouse passes away, then the calculations all change. So I would keep an eye. So don't take that as a forever answer. As of right now, probably not because surviving spouse benefits are more. But if something should happen in the future, then the calculations change and you need to check again at that time. I'm 64 and on Social Security disability. Will I be eligible for regular Social Security when I turn 65 in October? Yes, you're eligible for regular Social Security at 62. But 99.999% of people don't do anything because Social Security disability benefits are higher than early retirement. So you can, if you want to stop disability, you have to withdraw your application and, because you want to go back to work or whatever. But no, you're getting your higher benefit being on disability. But as I mentioned to the other person, now that you're going to be 65, I would definitely check to see if a Medicare supplement plan is a better option for you. Again, reach out to Chapter and they can help you out. But other than that, you just stay where you're at. And then once you hit your full retirement age, That's when they switch you to regular retirement benefits. The check stays the same, direct deposit stays the same. Most people don't even notice the switch. So, let's see, Danny, the trust fund is projected to be depleted around 2033. Benefits could be reduced for future retirees. However, current retirees are unlikely to see immediate changes to their benefits. That is not correct. According to Social Security law, they can only pay out what they have in the bank. And if the trust fund is depleted and all they have this month is 75% of what they need to pay, they only pay 75%. So it's going to be across the board. Medicare is a crime, forcing people to have it and charge for it. Okay. Yeah, I guess car insurance and all the rest of it, homeowners insurance. I receive railroad retirement benefits from my. Okay, I already answered that. Yeah, reach out to the railroad board. Barbara, I received a check from the IRS recently as a tax refund. Awesome. This was right after Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act. Was this refund check part of the Fairness Act? No, no, this definitely wasn't part of the. It might have been the $1,000 or $1,400 check that you were supposed to get in 2021 that you didn't get. That's probably it. Probably. Yeah. Let's see. Can you drop your employee's health plan and sign up for Medicare? It's less expensive than my employer's plan. Yes, yeah, some people do that, even though they don't have to sign up for part, A and B and all that stuff. They do because the employer plan, is not very good or it's too expensive, doesn't cover enough. Yeah, if you have an employer plan and you want to end it, absolutely, and then you can sign up for A and B, or if you already have A, just sign up for B, and then you have to sign up for either Medicare Supplement or Medicare Advantage. If you do a Medicare Supplement, you also need to get a prescription drug plan. Absolutely. Let's see. Can I apply for disability benefits even if I'm overseas? Yeah. Don't think you can do it online because the Social Security system kind of stops people from accessing their Social Security from overseas. You might have to go to the federal benefits unit in wherever part of the country, wherever part of the world you're in, the federal benefits unit. So, um, Dr. Weir, you're awesome. Thank you. My question is, I am 64 and have been on SSDI for 10 years. What happens to my benefits if Social Security is privatized? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So, you know, uh, we could conceivably again like have a Social Security advantage if you're in disability. There's some Wall Street corporation or whatever will determine whether you continue to receive your disability. And yeah, we see what happens in Florida and California with insurance companies and just dropping out and not. Yeah. So, someone online, that's always a scary way to start off a sentence, said if you're on SSDI, you can only be outside the US for 30 days without having your income yanked. Is this true? No, that is not true. There's people that live overseas the rest of their lives being on SSDI. But one of the only things that, if you get a CDR, the continuing disability review, it's difficult, to get those completed, being overseas. And they send you once a year, the Social Security Administration sends you a proof of life form that you have to fill out and return. And if you don't return it, then you will be stopped because you just have to prove that, yes, you're still out there alive and kicking. So, all right, let's see here. 70-year-old widow went on disability in 2009. Husband died in 1999. Called about survivor benefits, told 1227. Yes, I qualified. I called on 116, was told payment service made a mistake. How bad and how long? All right, so 70-year-old widow benefits on disability. Yeah, there's no more disability after your full retirement age. So you're just on regular survivor benefits. Um, you may have been on what's called disabled widows benefits when you first started in 2009 or whatever. You were on disabled widows benefits, but once you turn your full retirement age, your disability stopped and it just turned into regular widow survivor benefits. So, Juan, raise the tax. I am one that stops paying in October. I will give this up. Freaking simple. Yes. Yeah. So okay, yeah. So you make over 176,000. Awesome on you. And yeah, you stop paying FICA tax on anything over the 176,000. Yeah, a lot of people that went to the inauguration, or any inauguration, it's movers and shakers, I guess, pay FICA tax for the first 2 or 3 seconds of January 1st, and then they stop paying FICA tax. But we pay it all year long because we're suckers like that, I guess. Just filed online and gave my military info and additional comments. Perfect. Received my first check last week. They never asked me for documents. How will I know I received the additional military pay? Yeah, that's pretty much automatic nowadays. They've updated their systems. And it used to be, we used to have to get people to get their DD 214s. But yeah, as long as you put it in there, they interact now with NARA.gov, the National Archives. So you should be good. The Republicans are going to cut SSI benefits by lowering the $400 SSI resource tolerance level limit to zero amount. They will be looking at everyone's bank accounts. Yeah, well, right now, if you apply for SSI, that's one of the things you attest to that says, yes, I give Social Security permission to look at my bank account. So if you win the lottery and all of a sudden there's $1 million that pop into your bank account, there is a diary digest that Social Security, an alert Social Security gets that, hey, this person is on welfare and they just got $1 million. So yeah, that's part of the deal when you apply for SSI, that they're really able to look at your stuff. But yes, under the previous Trump administration, there was an attempt to restrict SSI, restrict disability benefits. Let's see here. All right, I've got a few more questions here. I was approved for disability and afterwards was placed on SSI disability. Why not just SSDI? Because yeah, it depends on your benefit amount. So if your SSDI is only $300, $400, $500, and you don't have any other income or resources, then they give you some SSI, the welfare-based program. So you can get SSI and SSDI, which it sounds like you are receiving. So. All right, we're getting close to the end. Let me jump around and see if I see anybody that I don't recognize. Okay, let's see. I'll be 65 early May. Not sure if I'll retire yet. What's my deadline to sign up for Medicare? In case I do go retired, 65. Oh my gosh, decisions. Also, I don't have any prescriptions. Should I take D? Um, Okay, so if you don't have health insurance from work, current work, 20 or more employees, yours, your spouse, all that stuff. If you don't have the credible coverage, then yes, you do have to sign up for Medicare. You can start the process 3 months before you turn 65, um, and you'll sign up for Part A and Part B. And then if you do a Medicare supplement plan, then yes, you have to sign up for a prescription drug plan, even if you don't even if you don't take prescriptions, because it's one of the things. If you don't sign up for a Part D plan, then you're going to be penalized in the future when you do sign up, if you ever do take prescriptions. And a lot of people miss that, is they go ahead and sign up for Part A and Part B, then they sign up for a Medicare supplement, the Plan N or Plan G, and then they say, well, I don't need a prescription, God, I don't take any. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, it turns out they have to take prescriptions and they're penalized 1% for every month you did not sign up for Part D. So it's important that you do the right thing at the beginning, because, yeah, penalties could go on for the rest of your life if you do the wrong thing. So reach out to Chapter there and they can help you out. Hi, this is Dion. I'm 66 years old, born in 1958, unemployed, not sure if it is good to apply for my Social Security check now or wait. Yeah, it really depends. I mean, if you've got no money coming in, then hey, get while the getting's good. Your benefits will continue, to increase until 70. Um, Pretty soon you're going to be your full retirement age, 66 and 8 months probably for you, and you'll get your full check. It won't be reduced, but um, then, if you wait the other 6 months or 8 months or whatever the case may be, you're also going to be missing all those checks. So it might be good to go ahead and get while the getting's good. So it really depends on your particular situation. So I received disability in 2002. I'm on SS Social Security now at age 78. Do I receive any extra assistance? Yeah, so you're just switched to regular retirement benefits once you turn your full retirement age, and it really depends if what other help you need. I did a video on that, on getting the extra help. There's check out my videos on living on Social Security alone. I've done it. I've remade those a few times, but the most recent one is most updated, and it gives you about 50 different programs that might help you out. So make sure you share that, and with anybody out there that is kind of struggling. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are just living on Social Security alone, so they definitely need our help. So. All right, we are at an hour, and I apologize for not getting to all your questions, but I will be back again tomorrow, and we'll do it again. Y'all have a great night. Take care of each other, and we'll see you then.